Hello, and welcome to today's Bruin Bound webinar, all about parent and family involvement in your students' UCLA experience. My name is Alexandra Brown. I am Senior Director for the UCLA Student Alumni Programs and Family Engagement Office, which of course includes our Parent and Family Association. And I'd like to be amongst the many to congratulate you and your student on the tremendous accomplishment of being accepted to UCLA. Today, we'll have the opportunity to hear from some current families on their Bruin experience and perspectives, as well as understanding some ways that you'll be able to support your students through their UCLA career. And we'll close up with some valuable UCLA resources for families during their time as a Bruin. If questions come up throughout their time today, please feel free to jot them down and connect with us afterwards via our helpline or email. And that contact information will be shared at the end of the session. I'm excited to have with me today some really amazing UCLA Parents Council members, and I'll have them introduce themselves. Lori, could you start? Just tell us a little bit about yourself and your Bruin.
Sure. Welcome. First, congratulations to the prospective or accepted students and their families. My name is Lori Dennis. I am a third year on council, and I am one of the co-chair elects. My son Shay is a junior at UCLA and majoring in English and history. And probably what he actually lives on at his fraternity is actually still there now. And I am from the Philadelphia area, so definitely an out-of-state parent. So have a lot of insight that I can give you. And welcome again.
Great. Mendoza family?
Hi, how are you? My name is Jose Mendoza. This is my lovely wife, Lisa. We are on our second year at the Parents Council. We have a daughter, her name is Lauren. She's a junior now. She's going to graduate in 2021. She's an English major with a minor in linguistics and in film. We live in the Silver Lake neighborhood in Los Angeles, California. I am a 1992 UCLA alum, and I am a real estate attorney with a boutique law firm out in Woodland Hills, California. Lisa, what do you do?
I'm a corporate giving advisor with a global investment company. And Lauren is our second daughter out of 3.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for being with us today. Again, you bring some really unique perspective and insights to our conversation. So let's jump in. I'm going to start with a question for everybody, and that is, what was your biggest concern at the beginning of your students' UCLA experience? And then reflecting back, how do you feel about that issue now? Mendoza, I'll start with you.
Okay, well, I think one of my biggest concern for Lauren's UCLA experience was that she would be too obsessed with grades, and missing out on the entire college experience, like attending gymnastics or basketball or football games. Now I think, though, that she has found a good balance of keeping her 3.75 GPA and watching the various Bruin teams kick butt at Poly Pavilion or Rose Bowl or other venues. I mean, we know that UCLA has so much to offer its students, and it's daunting to new students and parents to try to fit in and to discover their priorities. With the help of UCLA Friends, with networking events and other resources, we know that for you, future Bruins, you'll be able to find that balance.
Great. Lori, same question.
Sure. My biggest concern was that my son came from a school of less than 150 graduates going onto a campus of 30,000. So I was just concerned that he would kind of get lost because he just was not used to such a big school. But UCLA was awesome. I just remember talking to him every day as a freshman. I mean, the first week they're on campus with even before classes started, and they just do so many neat things. And he made a lot of friends that actually first week that he's still friends with now. And then, of course, he did go Greek, and it being in a fraternity definitely makes him have a home away from home in LA.
Awesome. So I hear it. A lot of competitiveness, and also the size can be a little bit overwhelming. For those or I guess I should say for our local family and for bringing your daughter here, Lisa or Jose, what was the biggest surprise about UCLA for you and or your student, and why?
I guess, for me, one of the biggest surprises, even just thinking about moving her in, was the process of moving in, and considering how many students are moving in at one time, how seamless it all is. They really have it down to a science. Everything is so well thought out. I would say from a parent's perspective, just trying to navigate how much stuff can and cannot fit in a dorm room. um, but also, I think for Lauren, considering how esteemed UCLA is, I think she was surprised by how laid back campus can be, and how approachable and friendly the professors are, and just how much joy she gets out of being on campus. With Jose being an alum, she's been to the campus before, and I think it was just kind of one of those surreal moments actually moving her in. So just kind of taking it all in too was important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and coming obviously from quite a bit further away, Lori, maybe could you share what the hardest parts were in terms of adjusting to UCLA as an out-of-state family?
Sure, and I think it's the same whether your student is 15 minutes from you or 6 hours on a plane. And that is that they're leaving and you're just not going to see them. But the great modern technology such as FaceTime is easy, and I feel like I talk and see him more via the fact, even though we're 2,400 miles away versus if he was just in downtown Philadelphia. And the nice thing also about being an out-of-state parents, and of course we're going to plug it, is that the parent and the parent council and the parent and family association has so many tools that as a parent, whether it's 6 a.m. here and 3 a.m. in LA, you can go online, know what's going on. Sometimes college students aren't always the best of sharing everything with their parents, but there's just so much information from that Alex's staff really helps out that you never feel that you're that far away at all.
Well, I appreciate that plug. And yes, we do everything we can to keep families informed, whether you're down the street or across the country or around the world. All right. Well, Jose, then I would like to throw a question to you in terms of if there were any situations where you and or your students' expectations did not meet the reality of their experience, and if you're comfortable to share maybe a little bit about that situation and how you navigated that.
Great. I do remember last year when Lauren decided to study abroad. We were very excited with that program, and she says, okay, I want to study in Amsterdam. So specifically it was in Utrecht in the Netherlands. So we all went to Amsterdam. We spent Christmas and New Year's there, as a family to get her acclimated and, to welcome her into that new environment. And she was there, and then we eventually left. And then she was there, and while she was studying abroad, unfortunately, she suffered a medical emergency. Obviously thousands of miles away, we relied on the host school and faculty to help her during that medical condition. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to get the help there that she needed and had to end the study abroad program and come home. When she did come home, it took a while for UCLA to give her the resources she needed because she was still in their system and in a foreign student, not a student at UCLA, because she was still registered as a study abroad student. So it took some time for UCLA to give her those resources, but eventually, they were able to get her the attention she needed when she came back home. And I think UCLA has since fixed that loophole. But for any parents or students thinking of doing the study abroad program going forward, I would definitely recommend it. I think wholeheartedly that your students would experience something tremendous with a different culture and different country altogether.
Awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. And I think it brings up a good point around advocacy. With the campus being so large, it is important for both students and families to feel confident in reaching out and asking questions when they need them. And of course, seeking out those resources that you need to handle any sort of situation you're facing. All right. Well, in terms of, I would actually like to pose this question to everybody. What was one thing that you wish you knew before your student began their college years? And perhaps this is even broader than your current Bruin, but as you transition to supporting a college-age student, maybe something you would wish you would have thought about before sending them off. And Lori, let's start with you.
Well, I think what happens is Shay is my youngest, so I have done this before, but college kids are responsible and they will be able to survive and, more importantly, thrive without you. So I think that's like the most important thing I could say, that it's, you know, they need to stumble a little bit. What's great about UCLA is they have so many resources available to the students that just usually a text, a phone call, or even just stopping in somewhere on campus to get help. So I think that's the most important for whether it's your first or your last coming to college, is the fact that they are young adults and they will survive and thrive, which is the most important.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that statement. But what surprised me, I think, or I wish I would have known beforehand, was how good the dorm food really is at UCLA. I mean, I can't stress enough that UCLA has been consistently ranked as #1 best college food in America by Niche magazine. UCLA has diverse, cuisine, and I've been to all of them, ranging from dim sum to tandoori chicken to the Swiss fondue frites. They actually call their cafeterias residential restaurants, and Lisa and I think of excuses just to visit Lauren,
We did.
so we can go eat at the residential restaurants. So for those parents or students thinking, oh, I'm going to be worried about the quality of food that I get, it's really what you should be worried about is how much more weight you're going to get gain. More than the freshman 15, is it?
Yep. Yeah. Well, there's also that great hill that they have to walk up and down. So I think that counteracts that.
That definitely helps it.
Like
Yeah.
good food a little bit. But I mean, that is a great point. And just staying on that for a second in terms of dining options, I know a lot of families will be considering that, in regard to meal plans and things like that. So could you talk a little bit about when your student joined, when you were considering the different meal plans, where you landed? Was it that top tier premier plan, or was it like just a meal or two a week, and how you came to that decision?
Yeah, we actually didn't do the top tier one. I think we did the one right below it, which had some rollover opportunity because it's a little bit hard. And again, we did not know what the food was going to be like. We didn't know if she would want to eat 2 or 3 meals a day there. So we landed there, which seemed perfect. I mean, she could swipe us in when we came to visit. And it was perfect for her. It wasn't too much. It was just enough. It gave her some good variety. She could go up and get pizza. She could go down to the sandwich place. It's incredible. But we did talk to some other parents. Actually, Jose has a friend, a lifelong friend, some of his friends from UCLA when he was an undergrad there. And she has a daughter who's a senior now. So we were able to kind of just ask what her meal plan was and how it worked out for her. And it worked really well for us for the 2 years that she lived on campus.
Great. Yeah, I appreciate that perspective. Again, we get a lot of questions around the housing and dining options, so it's always good to have that firsthand experience. Lori, did you have any conversations around that when your son first moved out?
No, I guess I knew they weren't going to eat every meal there because he wasn't my first. So we did get kind of the middle of the road plan. And then we did put money in his, now I'm going to forget what it's called, Bruin card.
Bruin card.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that if he is on campus, then he can grab something in the Is it Ackerman? Sorry.
Ackerman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he can. And that's a great place to go. I have eaten a lot of there, whether it's Wolfgang Puck or burritos there. They have great food up there too for when you're visiting on campus if you're not going to be at the dorms.
Perfect. Thank you for that. I'm going to switch back over to Lisa and Co. In that first year, was there anything your daughter was challenged with? I know you had mentioned in particular concerns around the academic pieces, just being, she wanted to be so, competitive in that. But were there any other challenges she faced and how she worked through those and how you supported her in that first year in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big adjustment for her was the quarter system, just how fast paced it is, or it can be, and just kind of finding her footing with that. It can feel overwhelming being in a new environment, having to make friends, finding your way on campus. The campus is huge, just navigating it and figuring out your schedule. But once she kind of got into the swing of things, I think it was great for her. One thing to stress is just as uncomfortable as it can be, embracing change and knowing that you're going to grow from it, you're going to learn from it. It's never going to be perfect in the beginning, but it's going to be fine. And I think if parents can just reiterate, while it's uncomfortable, it's all going to work out. You're going to find your way. You're going to find your rhythm. And they've already done the hard work. They've gotten to the school. I think just reminding her about some of that, she doesn't have anything to prove to anyone because she's already there on campus, and it's just taking it all in and knowing that she's capable of doing it.
I love that. I think that is a great reminder. They got here, so they're meant to be here. Wonderful. Going back to the full group, and in that vein of just challenges, maybe is there one or two resources on campus that your student is most important to your student? And Lori, I don't know if I'll start with you. I don't know if you have one for me.
No, I absolutely do. So, obviously, as Lisa said, getting in is the tough part, right? I mean, it was a great student and is doing fine. Being present, though, I think he had a lot of undue stress, and you do worry about kids. And let's be realistic, there's such stress on students today that we didn't have 20, 30 years ago. And so he actually stopped by the CAPS program at UCLA, which is Counseling and Psychological Services. And you hear a lot of horror stories from universities where a child really needs help and then it's a 2-week wait or whatnot. And he actually shared with me his first time when he went, he stopped in that morning and he was in front of a counselor at 3 p.m. So really great having him work through his stress. I think it's important that everyone realizes there is a lot of stress, right? I mean, I think the students put it on themselves a lot, but being the fact that he had just come back and he had mono, and he obviously has the whole president of a fraternity on his shoulders. I was just so happy that first off, he didn't, kind of checked in with us after the fact, but more importantly, as UCLA is great with all their services, the fact that he was able to see that counselor that day was really, really impressive.
Great. Yeah, I appreciate it. And good resource to point out. There is a lot of high achieving folks at UCLA that could always use a little extra support.
Absolutely.
Mendoza family, anything to add? Any additional resources?
No, I think Lori hit it on the head. I would say for us too, that's been a super important resource. Just knowing that it's available, and Lauren has used it. Absolutely, 100%. We encourage her to even just stop and take a break, just a mental health check, because there is so much stress for these kids. But yeah, I think Lori got it perfect. CAPS.
Great. Jose, I'm going to stick with you for a second. As a Bruin yourself, what has it been like to experience UCLA all over again through your students' eyes?
Words can't express it. I mean, and I'll try to. I remember when I took Lauren to UCLA for the first time when she was about 8 years old, and I told her this was my school that I went to, and she looked around and said, wow, this is such a beautiful campus. And one day, Dad, you'll see, I'll be here. I'll be going here too. You know, fast forward 10 years later, when it was time opening up emails and letters from all the various colleges and universities she applied to, we were all sitting around the computer looking at each of the emails, and the email she got was from UCLA. And lo and behold, it said, yes, congratulations, you've been accepted. You know, all of us hugged each other and cried and laughed, and it was just a great big sigh of relief to know that, you know, she got in. That was her, you know, her number one school. And for me, that brought back memories of me joining the, you know, Lambda Phi Epsilon fraternity and going to the Filipino club, which is called Samahang Filipino, and doing all these various organizations. And I thought, you know, for her, I'm sure Lauren would, you know, make her own forever memories at that point.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a great time. That feeling, I think, is with a lot of families right now. Now, as we think about going back to, I guess, Lori's comment, right, and that students need to stumble a little bit and be able to just learn and become young adults. Let's go back to that, Lori. I'll have you start in terms of finding a balance between supporting your student and giving them space to navigate independently. What might be your approach, even in the decision-making process, right, of what college a student wants to go to? How did you balance that with your students?
Well, actually, UCLA was Shay's number one choice, so there was no really, we kind of knew when he applied. What made it great for me, I have to plug this, sorry guys, but being 2,400 hours away, or 2,400 miles away, having him in between Brentwood, Beverly Hills, and Bel Air makes me really happy, because he also was looking at the school down the road a little bit, and I was a little concerned. So, you know, I think that you have to support your student. I think they're, you know, let's be realistic. UCLA is the #1 public university in the US. It is well known no matter where you are in the world. It is a great campus. And what I really like about it is the fact that, you know, I think it's tough enough to be at school to then have to really be in a city environment like a New York or Philadelphia. I think being in Westwood is a perfect balance for an 18-year-old to start their life on their own. So that's what I would do as your student looks at where to go, kind of, you know, make sure they realize that, you know, there's so much to be. You can walk off the UCLA campus and you can be a few miles to the beach or downtown, in the music and movie capital of the world. What was it? Once Upon a Time was filmed at Westwood, right? The Fox Theater in Westwood. How great is it that I get a text, like my son sends me a Snapchat that, you know, he got to see it where it was filmed. Just really cool stuff like that. So hopefully a lot of these people here at the webinar today are hoping that, again, that their students are going to choose UCLA and just know it's just such a great environment for 4 years of school.
Absolutely. And obviously, Mendoza family, you're quite a bit closer. So how do you balance that, staying involved and letting her do her thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just checking in every now and then and not hovering. You know, you have to just trust in your student. And I think too, like, just something to keep in mind, they're still young. They're going to find their way. But, you know, one of the best tools to have is a family who supports the fact that your student may go through multiple changes with their major, and that's okay. They're going to find their way eventually. Hopefully it's still within 4 years, but, you know, it's just having kind of a whole new world in front of you.
Absolutely, yeah. I appreciate that mention of the majors. It may go through a couple iterations before the graduation.
Yes, it
does. Lori, you know, again, you're far away, but you've chosen to be involved through our Parents Council, and so I'm hoping you just share maybe why was it important for you to be involved with UCLA as a parent?
I think it's important, especially since my son was this was my youngest, that I was always involved in their schools or high schools, in their parent council, PTAs, and I knew that I wanted to give back. And having an excuse to come to UCLA in February from the East Coast is not the worst thing. And what I really enjoyed about Parent Council is it's so much more than just coming to visit your student now. So there's so many philanthropic ways, people we help, whether it is the food closet or veterans, or just so many opportunities that we have to give back to those that are here on campus, but still might need a little bit more support than our own student. So I highly recommend that if your students do come, to definitely look at on the Parent Council page and see how you can apply and really give back to what is a great university. So not only is my child having a great 4 years, but I am too.
I love that. A lot of our families say it's as much fun, but without the grade. So that's why they get involved. And then Jose, I want you to pull from all of your experiences, both as an alum, so your time as a student, your time now as a parent, and what your student has experienced. Is there a favorite UCLA event that you have been either involved with and or with or without your student, and why?
Well, it's hard because I've been to so many different events throughout UCLA, and again, UCLA has so much to offer. But I remember maybe two if I had to choose between those two. The first was a UCLA USC football game at the Coliseum. And I went there with Lauren and her friends, and we tailgated, and it was a great experience there. But that was fun. Unfortunately, we didn't win. We'll get it next year, I'm sure. But I think one of the highlights that I shared with Lauren was when we went to Poly Pavilion to watch gymnastics meet. And it was in 2019, and Kyla Ross was there, and she stunned the crowd with perfect tens, and UCLA went on to win the 2019 championship. So I thought that was one of the best moments that I experienced with Lisa, Lauren, and the entire family.
All our daughters, yeah.
Oh, how fun. Yeah, a lot of great sports. So of course, for our families out there, if you're making it out for a visit, a great thing to check out is one of the sporting events at UCLA. Well, we've got just a few minutes left, so I want to wrap up with one last question, and I'll get your perspectives on from each of you. But if there were one key piece of advice for a parent or family member to take away as they support their student in making the decision, what might that be? So Lori, I'll start with you.
Okay, so first I want to congratulate everyone. The fact that your student got into UCLA is just such a great achievement. And there's a reason we're the #1 public university. And I think that especially those out-of-state parents, I can tell you, it doesn't matter, again, if they're 15 minutes from you or 4 or 5 hours from you, you're going to see them on FaceTime. You're going to have an excuse to come to a great campus. And I think that an education that you can get from UCLA, and for the price, you really can't get anywhere else. So I really hope that you support your student no matter where they are. And I hope to see many of you on campus in the fall.
Awesome. Jose and Lisa?
And I think for us, it would be, for people considering UCLA, you have to understand, going forward from a career perspective, and employers looking at different applicants, when they see UCLA, everyone knows it. I mean, that's it. It's going to have that name recognition. It's going to have, all that, all the good things surrounded with the reputation of the school. But I think as a parent, though, you just got to learn to trust your students. You've raised them well enough to get into the school, and you got to understand that, they're going to make the right decisions. They may, trip here and there, but eventually they're going to pick themselves up and finish the program, and you're going to be extremely proud after the end of the 4 years.
Wonderful. Yes. Okay. Jose, Lisa, Lori, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with me and the rest of our audience today. I think I really just appreciated, the touch points around academics and the competitiveness, but that all students who have gotten into UCLA are meant to be here. And all of the amazing resources, not only for students, number one, not only for students, but really for our families as well to be involved in whatever capacity they choose. So for all of you out there around the world, thank you so much for taking the time to join us in your time zones. We hope the conversation was beneficial to you and your family, and to learn more. Excuse me. To learn more about that, please check out our contact information here on the website. Thanks so much, and go Bruins.